Now on 767 News, Caribbean heads of state throw support behind Venezuela amidst U.S. decree. CARPHA reports violence and road fatalities on the rise in the Caribbean. Dominica and the World Bank review strategic climate resilience projects implementation. And in sports, NBD Primary School Football Championship finals to kick off on Wednesday. Welcome to 767 News, Dominica's #1 news source. I'm Alicia George. We'll be right back with the latest stories and developments after this break.
Some call it money transfer. We call it helping him hit his first ever six. MoneyGram, bringing you closer.
Be part of the excitement. Tune in to the Tiny Green Show every other Monday on Digicel Play TV, Channel 3. Welcome back. In tonight's newscast, Honorable Prime Minister Roosevelt Skerrit and President of Dominica, His Excellency Charles Savre, have flown to Caracas, Venezuela to throw their support behind the Bolivarian Alliance for the Peoples of Our America, ALBA, as heads discuss the country's position on the Summit of the Americas to be held on April 10th and 11th in Panama. Latin American presidents and prime ministers of the Caribbean have gathered there to discuss the way forward after President of the United States, Barack Obama, declared Venezuela through a decree as an extraordinary and unusual threat to the security and policies of the United States. President Obama issued an executive order Monday imposing sanctions on members of the Venezuelan military and intelligence services. The delegation is expected to address the current situation and achieve a position that represents all the nations of the bloc prior to the Summit of the Americas. Venezuelan President Nicolas Maduro expects the U.S. to repeal the sanction against Venezuela and establish a system based on respect, equality, and sovereignty. The Union of South American Nations, which includes 12 Latin American countries, rejected the U.S. decree against Venezuela. The Bolivarian Alliance for the Peoples, ALBA, did the same by backing Venezuela and rejecting American threats. And in other stories, consultation to review Dominica's Strategic Program for Climate Resilience, SPCR, for the period 2012 to 2017 got underway today, Tuesday, at the conference room of the Fortune Hotel. The consultation, a collaborative effort of the Ministry of Health and Environment and the World Bank, focused on the implementation of the Disaster Vulnerability Reduction Project, DVRP, for Dominica, priorities for SPCR, and reviewing the country's program-level monitoring and evaluation indicators. Colin Geese, project coordinator for the PPCRP and DVRP project coordination unit, told 767 News that the document comprises 4 components, which identifies how vulnerable various sectors are to climate change.
It comprises of 4 components, which is the critical infrastructure. There is also data and data management. The other component is what we call the emergency component. In case of natural disaster strike, that would be able to trigger finances as soon as possible for rapid reaction, and the project management aspect of it.
A team from the World Bank will be in Dominica for the entire week, assisting and reviewing the process of implementation for projects under the Climate Resilience Program in time for June of 2015. Arati Bell, Senior Climate Change Specialist for the World Bank, said the institution is the lead agency supporting the implementation of the Disaster Vulnerability Reduction Project.
As a part of the program activities, we are supporting the government in their review and in sort of conducting the process for the review. And we also the support is mainly on helping them in terms of monitoring and reporting to climate investment funds, which is done annually.
The $100 million Climate Resilience Project covers areas such as roads, potential landslide zones, construction of seawalls, agriculture, water supply, and land use planning. And the Goodwill Primary School on Tuesday held a French exhibition as part of the school's observance of French Day. Hannah Massicot, organizer of the French exhibition, in an interview with 767 News, said the event also fell in line with the observance of French Week, which began on Monday.
Today, our school has decided to put on an exhibition. Now we have a full day packed with activities. Well, we started at 9 and we'll go on up till 1. And we have different students. We just had our assembly, sorry. Then after, we're going to have our exhibition, which is the main focus of our activities here today.
Massicot said the exhibition included various Francophonie countries, a restaurant booth, crafts, and also highlighted the culture of French countries, Martinique and Guadeloupe.
So we have a packed day full of different activities to really showcase the students' talent in French. And our French theme is Jeunes et Français, apprentissage par la pratique. That is youth and French learning by doing. And we decided to have our own theme here for today's activity, and we try to put it around the French theme, of the national French theme. And we came up with what I just told you was our theme, which is Jeunes et Français, apprentissage par la pratique. That is youth and French learning by doing. But the French theme for the national French theme is Jeunes, environnement et climat. That is youth, environment, and climate.
The students also presented poems, danced to French music, sang French songs as part of the day's activities. And in other stories, the duo may seem odd or out of the ordinary to some. However, local attorney Tiani B. Hansen and St. Lucian herbalist priest Kailash has teamed up to form a new herbal company under the name of Herbal Rivers. B. Hansen, who is one of Herbal Rivers' directors, said the company will focus on the distribution and shipping of herbal products manufactured by the Great Physician International.
The first is Quick Care Pharmacy in Hasbro Medical Center. The other one is Jay's, which has been carrying the products for the last 2 years now. So once you start taking the products, you'll at least be able to get resupply. Herbal Rivers is a company based here in Dominica, so we will eventually hope to make some supplements right here as the herbs grow wild in certain parts, and we're going to collect those and harvest them and then make the preparations. We have the experience, those who are tasked to do that out of St. Lucia and other parts of the Caribbean is going to come in and do that for us, so that we'll have it right here in Dominica.
B. Hansen said the company will also work on 3-day medical consultations with priest Kailash, who currently can only manage 2 days at a time when on island. These consultations will also be extended island-wide. He stated herbal medicine has been very effective, as growing up as a child, this was what elders used to treat various illnesses.
We are seeing a lot of people with diseases that we never had before. The affluence diseases that African Americans and people from the diaspora never had before, or now suffering from those. So people who left here and are now permanently based in the UK or in England, or sorry, not the UK, it's in England, but say the US or Canada or other parts, do not have access to some of the herbs, and we need to be able to deliver those herbs to them. But the importance in terms of the education, not to lose that. I mean, what Honorable Priest Kailash is able to do is to pick up some of that information, the history of the genealogy of it, and then ensure that we capture the knowledge so that we can make use of it now.
Meanwhile, Chairman of the Great Physician International, Priest Kailash, said the herbal medicines are very useful for people of the Caribbean, especially those who do not find the relief from pharmaceutical drugs.
even while at medical school, like many of the drugs that I studied in pharmacology, I learned that they were not effective for people of African Caribbean origin. So this actually what it did, it uplifted my spirit in the realms of saying, well, look, we must work towards developing specific programs that are effective for our people. If you listen to Dr. Hilary Beckles, as the reparation movement has actually begun for the Caribbean, he said one of the key problems in health is that the same drugs that work for the people in America, the people in Europe, and the people in Africa don't work for us in the Caribbean because of the transatlantic slave trade. The diet that we are actually using within the Caribbean region, the high salt diet. So we at the Great Physician International, we take honor and pride in our work, and we are a result-oriented organization.
Priest Kailash said the company's herbal products treat a number of illnesses and diseases, including diabetes, hypertension, cancer, the common cold, red eyes, and chikungunya.
That they take cocoa tea with a little cinnamon, a little bay leaf, and that's it. I could help to regulate the blood sugar levels, build up the iron levels. So we now, as a people, all these things that we have ignored, I, Honorable Priest Kailash Kailayans, the chairman of this company and a priest of the Ethiopia Africa Black International Congress, what we have done is to develop, merge the science and the herb together, presenting the people with products that have a high efficacy and products that work very quickly. So it's not that because it's herb, it have to look shabby and it have to look like something that is, coming from the backyard. Our products are basically worked upon, tested. Even if it is a herbal product, it is presented in the same way that any other pharmaceutical drug would actually be presented.
He said through medical consultations, individuals are advised to live healthier lifestyles, which will reduce the need for herbal medicines or pharmaceutical drugs. We'll be right back after this break with more stories.
Welcome to Court's Digital World, where we have the widest range of digital products from the world's best brands, televisions, tablets, laptop computers, mobile phones, and much more. Connect, explore, engage.
Dominica. Cricket comes to Nature Island once again, and Digicel Play will be on top of the action. The regional 4-day cricket match, Windward Islands Volcanoes versus Guyana Jaguars, comes to Dominica at the Windsor Park Stadium. Join us on 767 Local for a 767 Sports Special on Channel 3 from March 20 to the 23rd, 2015 from 7 p.m. to 8 p.m. Tune in and recap the day with sports commentators Joseph Thomas and Andy Carter. Also join us for our post-game discussions on Friday, March 19 and again on Monday, 23rd March from 7 p.m. to 8 p.m. on Channel 3. Look out for the 767 Sports Special brought to you by Digicel Play.
Thanks for staying tuned. Midwives in Dominica are now better able to identify and manage women diagnosed with HIV and AIDS and protect their babies following a training organized by the National Response Program for HIV and AIDS. Coordinator of the National Response Program, Julie Frampton, said for the last 10 years, Dominica has had zero mother-to-child transmission, and this session was held to ensure that it stays that way.
We've seen the success rate we've had in terms of transmission of mother to child. For the last 10 or more years, we've had no seroconversion, meaning that all the women who tested positive for HIV during pregnancy were managed and the infants are all negative. So we know that treatment works. So we do not want to see any person testing positive during pregnancy, far less to have a child, confirmed positive. We can safely say for now that we have no children under the age of 15 living with HIV in Dominica. Yes, we do not know if anybody fell through the cracks, but those we know of, we've managed them adequately. So we want to keep it like that.
Frampton is hoping that Dominica will be the first country in the region to eliminate mother-to-child transmission.
We really are looking forward to being able to eliminate mother-to-child transmission, or being one of the first countries in the region to say we've successfully eliminated mother-to-child transmission of HIV and congenital syphilis.
The workshop was facilitated by staff of the National AIDS Program, Dr. Ruby Blah and Dr. Binta Lambert. And in other stories, a meeting organized by the Caribbean Public Health Agency, CARPHA, to discuss violence and injury prevention in the Caribbean has been scheduled for later this year. The meeting, which will include environmental health officers from across the region, will focus on areas like developing a policy to reduce the harmful use of alcohol intake as a contributor to road fatalities among member states. Dr. C. James Hospedals, Executive Director of CARPHA, confirmed that Caribbean countries have witnessed an increase in violence and road fatalities, with alcohol abuse being a leading factor.
Many Caribbean countries have experienced increases in violence. Many have significant problems with traffic fatalities. One of the contributors to that is the harmful use of alcohol. And so policy on that is something that we're going to be working on to reduce the harmful use of alcohol as a public health priority.
The problem of deaths and injury as a result of road accidents have been acknowledged as a global phenomenon, with authorities in virtually all countries of the world concerned about the growth in the number of people killed and seriously injured on their roads. In 2002, global road traffic injuries were the 9th leading cause of disability-adjusted life years, accounting for over 38 million disabilities. According to an article published by the Pan American Health Organization, PAHO, in 2013, over 23,500 pedestrians are killed yearly in Latin America and the Caribbean, making pedestrians the most vulnerable group of road users in the region. In the region of the Americas, road traffic injuries are the leading cause of death in children aged 5 to 14 and the second leading cause in the group aged 15 to 44. In addition to the CARPHA meeting scheduled for later this year, a scientific conference from June 25th to 27th in Grenada will also focus on violence and injury prevention as a priority area among Caribbean countries. Police Public Relations Officer ASP Claude Wicks has sent out a strong warning to the general public to refrain from violating vagrants.
We have to denounce certain activities that are being unleashed on the people in our society who are mentally ill, who are vagrants, whom, as I said, we call paros, where they are beating them, physically abusing them, and of course verbally as well. Sometimes the chaps, whether men or women, are just seated quietly in a particular area, whether they're gazing, whether they're looking around, and the young chaps, they take pride in abusing them. Let us make it fundamentally clear. The paros, the vagrants, the mentally ill, the marginalized in the society, the less fortunate, the indigent, they too have a right.
ASP Wicks said these individuals have a right to live no matter their condition in society and should be respected.
If they break the law, if they transgress the law, well, they'll be taken to the court. If the court gives an order that they ought to be evaluated or reviewed by the APU people, the experts at the hospital, well, so be it. Some of them are known recidivists, that is, the repeat offenders, and are taken to the prisons where they are cared for, where they are treated. And like I said, they come back and they go back. It's like a recurring decimal. Sometimes there's a lack of care, there's lack of follow-up and monitor and evaluation. Some families, of course, embrace them, but they don't want that kind of warm embrace and prefer to be on the streets. There are families as well, adults, who discard them, who disown them.
He said we all have to be very careful in life, as in the blink of an eye, one can be diagnosed with mental illness or fall prey to drug addiction.
Like I said earlier on, there can be drug addicts, and they crave so much, they have that insatiable appetite and unquenchable thirst for the drugs, so they will do anything. They will steal and so forth, tamper with motor vehicles and so on. And like I said, since that is done, the due process must go on, taken before the courts, the whole process. But it doesn't say that we have to kill them. And when I say we as a people, we as Dominicans, and whether we jeered them, but more so the physical abuse of them, that is a no-no.
The senior police officer said despite what the public may think of the vagrants, they are human beings and have to be treated as such. In other stories, Dominica will be represented in the person of Leanne Moranci when the Miss Caribbean Houston Cultural Extravaganza takes place on June 28, 2015 in Houston, America. Moranci, a former Grand Bay resident who now resides in Houston, said she was encouraged to register for the event by her close friend Chelsea Williams after viewing a poster advertising for applicants.
It stood out to me because Leanne has always been in light, like she always does stuff for the community in Houston, represents Dominica on a very large scale. And when I saw the flyer, I didn't want to immediately tell her about it because she's been actually trying to go in the back shadows. And I think with all what we're trying to do, like Ulala promoting Dominica on a larger scale, I think her going up and us taking the title basically would put Dominica exactly and put us in a position where we can actually help us personally and to do what we've been planning to do with in regards of the youth talents, promotion. I think it will basically put us,
the exposure would be great.
Awesome.
Meanwhile, Moranci said following an interview for the extravaganza, she was chosen to represent her country, Dominica, which she vows to do proud.
Miss Caribbean Houston is actually a cultural extravaganza, so they want to express a lot of cultural and traditional beliefs and behavior that has probably fell to the wayside over the years. So they want to express that in the 5 segments. There's a national wear round, there's a costume round, there's swimsuit, of course, evening wear and questions, introductions, and talent. Most of all, there's talent.
In preparation for the extravaganza, Moranci said she has increased her reading, she has been attending various workshops as well as practicing etiquette techniques. According to Moranci, her chaperone Andrea John has been a vital part of her preparation, educating her on important aspects of pageantry. She said although public speaking is a challenge for her, she's working on it to ensure she's ready for the extravaganza.
I would actually just love if everyone supported the way that us Dominicans do. We support each other, and I love my community, I love my city, Houston, and I believe I can represent well. I'm very assertive, as I said before, and I'm dedicated to express to my best of my ability. My platform is promoting youth development and empowerment, and it's also, the objective is also to embrace individuality and imagination, creative expression. So we normally do that with Ulala Promotions, and the goal is to just extend that and make our brand bigger to be able to help others more on a larger scale.
Moranci said the winner of the Miss Caribbean Houston Cultural Extravaganza will automatically qualify as a contestant for the Miss Caribbean USA pageant. The countries participating in the Miss Caribbean Houston Cultural Extravaganza include St. Vincent, Trinidad, St. Lucia, Haiti, Jamaica, and Antigua. And that's it for local news. The latest in sports news is coming up next with Larry, so stay tuned.
I love family traditions, don't you? The fun you have when you're all together, preparing a meal that you'll all enjoy. Having the right kitchen appliances help bring it all together, and you can find them at Quartz. Appliances that give you more, fridges that keep food fresher, stoves that cook meals better. At Quartz, you get the world's best brands at the best prices. I love that, and you will too. For small and large kitchen appliances, Quartz, bringing value home.
Be part of the excitement. Tune in to the Tiny Green Show every other Monday on Digicel Play TV, Channel 3.
Good evening and welcome to 767 Sports. In tonight's coverage, we begin with football. The Boys Championship of the 2015 National Bank of Dominica Primary Schools Football Championships, organized by the Sports Division, will culminate with the semi-finals and final at the Lindo Park in Goodwill on Wednesday, March 18, 2015. The 4 schools which have qualified for the final stage of this year's championship are the Woodford Hill Primary, St. Luke's Primary, St. John's Primary, and the St. Mary's Primary. A brief ceremony will commence at 11 a.m. in which officials from the Sports Division and the National Bank of Dominica are expected to address the players. Following this ceremony, both semi-final matches will be played, to be followed by a match between the 2 losers of the semi-finals to determine the 3rd and 4th place teams. The grand final will then follow, where a new champion will be crowned, since last year's winner, the Roosevelt Douglas Primary School, was knocked out earlier in the competition. Round 1 of the girls segment of the National Bank of Dominica Primary Schools Football Championships will commence on Thursday 19th and Friday 20th March. In cricket, the International Cricket Council (ICC) has announced that the ICC Annual Conference 2015 will take place in Bridgetown, Barbados from June 22nd to 26th. This will be the first time the ICC's annual meetings have taken place in the West Indies, and with delegates from over 50 ICC members expected to attend, it will be the largest ever gathering of cricket administrators in the Americas region. The conference will be hosted by the WICB with the support of the Barbados Cricket Association and the Barbados Tourism Marketing Incorporated. WICB President Dave Cameron explained that the award of this high-profile event to the region demonstrates the significant role West Indies cricket continues to play in the global game. Barbados will join a prestigious list of hosts of the conference, which in recent years has included Melbourne, Australia, London, England, Hong Kong, Kuala Lumpur, Malaysia, Singapore, and Dubai. And in football, 13 matches are scheduled this week in the National Leagues of the Dominica Football Association, DFA. Public Relations Officer of the DFA, Gerald George, has the details.
In the All-Island League on Tuesday, the Giselle Newton Juvenile Academy will take on Fokole Classics in the first match for the header at the Baffin State playing field at 5 p.m. to be followed by Trafalgar Academy versus Campbell Ballers at 7 p.m. In another doubleheader at the Baffin State playing field on Wednesday, Pottersville Academy will come up against Haitian Angels at 5 p.m. while at 7 p.m. it will be Boston Warner versus Wayne George Academy. On Thursday, Ian Pinatsu Freya Spartans will battle Goodwill All-Stars at 5 p.m. in the first match of a doubleheader at the Baffin State playing field, to be followed by White River Ballers of Dailies versus Exodus Football Club. On Friday, Dr. Daru All-Stars will take on Digicel Newton Juvenile Academy at the Newton field at 6 p.m. while at the Baffin State playing field it will be Trafalgar Academy versus BS Trumps at 6 p.m.
In a doubleheader on Saturday, Trafalgar Classics will battle the Pottersville Academy at 5 p.m. at the Baffin State playing field, which will be followed by Campbell Ballers versus Boston Warner at 7 p.m. On Sunday, Haitian Angels will go up against Point Michel at the Poré playing field at 4 p.m.
Meanwhile, the race to the championship in the Dominic Women League intensifies on Sunday when defending champions New India Goodwill Runners take on Maosoka Strikers at 5 p.m. And the preliminary round in the Division 1 League will come to an end on Wednesday, with Nemesis United taking on MV Maxalo Bombers at the Jubla Field at 6 p.m.
And that's it for tonight's Sportscast. Tune in again tomorrow for more sports news.
That was Larry with the latest in sports. And now for a recap of tonight's headlines. Caribbean heads of state throw support behind Venezuela amidst U.S. decree. CARFA reports violence and road fatalities on the rise in the Caribbean. Dominica and the World Bank reviews strategic climate resilience projects implementation. And in sports, NBD Primary School Football Championship finals to kick off on Wednesday. And that's all the time we have for now. Until tomorrow, drop us an email at media@767news.dm, friend us on Facebook, and be sure to like our 767 News page. From all of us on the 767 News production team, I am Alicia George wishing you a wonderful evening, and thanks for watching.